QPR's great escape from relegation under Martí Cifuentes last season gave many of us hope of a brighter future for the R's in 2024-25. But 9 matches into this season, and we already find ourselves in all too familiar territory. If you look back at this exact same point last season, QPR are not only in the same league position in 22nd, but we currently have an identical goal difference, having scored and conceded one more goal. Perhaps more alarmingly, we had 1 point and one more win by this stage, having claimed away scalps at Borough and Cardiff, and coincidentally our only league win this season so far has come on the road at Luton Town, meaning once again QPR are struggling to win at home, with no wins in the league so far at Loftus Road from 4 matches played. That makes it just 13 wins in QPR's past 50 league appearances in W12, with the last time we saw us win more than half of our home games in a season under Ian Holloway in 2017-18. The question is, are things as bad as they might seem based on these comparisons, and are the R's in trouble once again? Some would argue that on the site test alone, this team is playing nowhere near as poorly as it was under Ainsworth, despite sharing a similar record so far. Others still feel that the young average age of QPR's 9 summer signings at 21 years old, a significant contrast to an average age of 28 between 8 signings last summer, mean that we won't see the best from this current crop until at least the second half of the season. And we have of course been missing Elias Chair until just before the international break, a player whom QPR have won just 3 of the past 15 matches without, and both Jack Colback and Jake Clark-Salter have now missed half of our league games each, players whom QPR have won just 1 of the past 15 without. With records like that, you'd like to think that Rangers have a fair chance of turning their fortunes around should all 3 be ready for selection against Portsmouth. So, to try and get a deeper understanding of what's going on with this team this season, I've had a look at the stats from our season so far, and while stats never tell the full story alone, I do think there's some interesting ones here which help to indicate where the positives and negatives lie. So, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, and if you want to become a paying member to support the channel, you can also do so via the link in the description below. Now, it seems quite evident by this point that while QPR have retained the 4-2-3-1 shape installed by Martí last season, we do seem to be playing a different kind of system to the one that led to our survival last year. Some have suggested this is a more possession-based system, though with an average of 47.1% of the ball this year, we're currently averaging just 1% more possession than we did across last season. It feels more possession-based because of the way we are trying to build from the back, which has led to these slow, laboured balls backwards and sideways. Begovic wasn't trusted with this kind of build-up play last season, which is why we often saw him punting balls up and often off the pitch. This has led to a lot of our fans wanting us to go more direct, or at least to mix up playing out of the back with some long balls, and there is some validity to that because Steve Cook is currently joint second in the league for accurate long balls per 90 with 5.4, having been 4th in the league last season with a staggeringly consistent 5.5. As a team, we're 7th in the league for accurate long balls per 90 overall with 41.6% accuracy, suggesting this is an area we could be tapping into more. And there are other stats which cast some doubt over this new style of play that we've adopted. One is that these players aren't the sharpest at passing because we're currently 18th in the league for accuracy. But this is nothing new, having ended the league in 17th for this metric in 23-24, suggesting this isn't an area of this squad's game that will improve with time, nor is it one that we should be focusing on. It's defensively that QPR are struggling the most, however, and that may be why this new system isn't yet showing signs of functioning. In the second half of last season, our defence was the jewel in Marty's crown. We ended the season 8th for goals conceded, averaging 1.3 goals per game, and this season we're currently 22nd for goals conceded, averaging 1.8 with only Cardiff and Portsmouth below us. There was a spell of 4 games after shipping 5 in our first 2, where our defence did seem to be reciprocating that form from the second half of last season, conceding just a goal a game against Argyle, Luton, Wednesday and Millwall. But we've now conceded 7 in the past 3, with Jake Clark-Salter's absence the notable difference. To be honest though, this doesn't solely seem to be down to our defenders themselves, because for the most part this is a near identical backline to the second half of last season. And there are 2 stats that really highlight where our issues currently lie. So far this season, QPR are bottom of the league for interceptions per match, averaging 6.1, a metric we ranked 8th for last season. And to further illustrate this point, QPR are 24th out of 24 for successful tackles per 90, averaging 8.2 a game, which we ranked 16th for last season. This metric is for all QPR players, not just defenders, so it really shows that this team is lacking that grit and physicality this season. Many of us have agreed that our midfield is the biggest weakness this season so far, and I think it actually is reflected when you look at which of our players make the most interceptions per 90 compared to the players in the rest of the league. Unsurprisingly, Steve Cook is the highest QPR player with 1.1 interceptions per 90, ranking him 90th out of 321 outfield championship players. Next, perhaps more surprisingly, is Jonathan Varane, also on 1.1 per game and ranked 105, while Kenneth Powell currently sits behind on 1 per 90, placing him 108th in the league. Nicholas Madsen is the next highest midfielder with 0.9, ranking 137th, followed by Jack Colback with 0.7, placing him 198th. Most worryingly though is Sam Field, who has averaged 0.5 interceptions per 90, placing him 234th out of 321 league players. The only QPR player to rank lower than him is Mickey Frey. It does pose a question of why we play with two defensive midfielders, and to me it really highlights that this backline isn't getting the cover that it did in the second half of last season. Marty started to reinvent this team last year by tightening the defence up, and it looks like we're going to need that to happen again here before we see any real improvement in our form. Anyway, let's have some positive stats, shall we? Despite QPR currently ranking 20th for goals scored, a marginal improvement on 21st last season, there are thankfully some more reassuring stats in attack, which is where Marty insists the R's will soon come good. Rangers are currently ranked 8th for shots on target with 4.4 per game, which is a significant improvement on a ranking of 15th last season. We're 4th for touches in the opposition box behind only Borough, Leeds and Sheffield United, once again a considerable climb from 15th in 23-24. QPR are also ranked 16th for expected goals with an XG of 10.2, which having scored 9 goals means that we do tend to take what are considered our big chances, meaning we're ranking 21st for big chances missed, which is actually a good stat despite how it sounds. Our delivery has improved too, with QPR currently 4th for corners compared to 10th last season, with 3 set-piece goals scored already, and 9th for accurate crosses, stepping up from 11th from last season. Amazingly, Žan Celar is currently 2nd in the league for most shots per 90, with 4.6 despite having started just 1 of his 9 league appearances this season so far, which if you want to take positively suggests that he will come good given a consistent run in this team. Now these stats might sound overly optimistic given we've scored just once in the past 3 matches, but they are signs that this team is attacking better than last season. The problem is too many times this season we've had a load of chances only to concede and find ourselves attacking less and less as the game goes on. Hull at home before the break was the perfect example of that. And this points back to the lack of support the defence is getting and more generally how ineffective our midfield has been this season. If we can bolster the midfield and give our defence more support, we are in these games in an attacking sense, and the return of Chair, our top scorer last season, should only help to improve our attacking returns. Now it's a busy schedule until the next international break with 6 matches over the next 3 weeks, 4 of which are at home, which I'm not sure whether to consider an advantage or not given our home record. Sort the midfield out early against Portsmouth and give this backline more support, and I think we could get much needed results against Portsmouth and Coventry with Chair back, which would give us much needed confidence going into a very tough run of Burnley, Sunderland, Borough and Leeds. Failed to rectify these early problems though, and although we're only just approaching the 20% mark this season, things could start to turn a little bit ugly on the approach to Marty Cifuentes' 1-year anniversary with the club. Anyway, that's all from me in this video. Do let me know if you have any thoughts yourself in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed the video and you're not already a subscriber, please do hit like and subscribe. And I'll hopefully see you in a future video. Cheers!